Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this video. Today we're going to take a look at AMD. They reported their earnings last night, and I got to say, they were good earnings. They were very impressive, but yet the stock is down 6-7% today. So today I'm going to talk about why the stock is down, but yet they were good earnings. And the big story here is that sometimes, and I'm pointing this out to you guys sometimes on the YouTube channel, is that anything can happen in the short term with stocks. And sometimes the market likes to punish stocks in the short term for short-term impacts and not realize what they're saying, and that in the long term this is great for the long term, and then eventually what you see is a couple months down the line, a year down the line, everyone buying back in and going, oh, look at that, they're doing these amazing things. And it's like, well, they did tell you a few months ago, but you wanted to punish them for short-term impacts, and they told you that this would give you long-term rewards, and that was the case with AMD. And sometimes those are really good opportunities. You know, the likes of Mercado Libre, we've seen that one happen a few times. Shopify, and we've seen how much that one's up today. So yeah, we're going to take a look at AMD's earnings and do a bit more of a deeper dive. Normally I do the deeper dives on the Patreon, but today I'm giving you one for free on the main YouTube channel. These get a little bit more gritty, a little bit more nerdy. If you do want to see more regular deep dives, place piece on the Patreon. I just did one of Hims and Hers the other day, and if you do want to see that video, links in the description, guys. Join the Patreon, £6 a month, or you can join yearly. I think it's like £5 a month if you pay yearly, or you can just go watch that video. I think it's £3 just to watch that video. And if you do want to start investing, join through the link in the description to get onto eToro. I'm on there. I'm a popular investor on there, and you can start your investing journey on eToro. Just before we get to AMD, I just want to point out Zotefoams. Oh my days! I think I said to you guys on Monday, you know, this is what we talk about. Sometimes in the market doesn't always get it right, and on Monday, you know, they brought earnings out, stock went up, and I said to you guys, I said, you know what, I think Zotefoams should probably be up more than this. And what have we had since then? Yeah, the stock is up 36% in the last 5 days. We have finally got above those 23rd of July highs. I said, how is this stock still lower than then? These earnings are incredible. The company is so much better than where it was there. The path to £4 is here, and we are starting to head to that £4 path, which is great to see from Zotefoams. It's incredible that literally I was buying this stock a couple of days ago, and I was negative on my position when I was buying it, and now boom, we're up over 30% on the position. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, did lock a little bit of profit in today from some shares that I only bought a couple of days ago. Bought a couple of shares a couple of days ago, and now selling them out for 30% profit. I know, you love this game. Shopify. What a set of earnings from these guys. We'll cover these ones on the Patreon in a little bit more detail, but yeah, up 19% today. You know what? Shopify always reports fantastic earnings. It's just sometimes the market goes, nah, we're not putting you up today. And then sometimes it goes, we absolutely love you. And today was one of those days, but love Shopify. For me, it's a hold forever stock. I think Shopify, you come back in 5 years, it's going to be even bigger than where it is right now. But at the same time, you know, there's always times to take a little bit of profit off the table. We're here to make money if you do get the opportunity to do that. But yeah, fantastic. I think we're now up over 100% in Shopify, which is incredible, because you look at, I think my top 5 holdings now, I think we've got like Hims and Hers up 500%, DraftKings up like 50%, SoFi up 200%, Mercado Libre up 100%, Shopify up 100%, Meta up 200-300%. It's an incredible top 5 holdings going on there. But let's go on to AMD. So AMD stock's down 7% today, but in my opinion, I actually thought these earnings were pretty impressive. I would go as far to say these earnings were, I'd give them 9 out of 10. So you think 9 out of 10, the stock would probably be up on these earnings, and it's down. So why is the stock down even though the earnings are good? In my opinion, there was just a combination of a few things that kind of hit it at once, and the market went, you know what, we're just going to sell you off today. So the first thing that I think was a bit tough for AMD is that I think since the last set of earnings, I can't remember exactly when the day is, but the stock was up like a good 60-70% since the last set of earnings. Now, when you're up 60 to 70% from your last earnings, there's that level of optimism, there's that level of hype already built in, and a lot of it priced in that you're going to do a good quarter. So yeah, the first thing is that the stock just kind of ran up so much. The other thing is that there was quite high expectations. So if you do look at the guide previously on May the 6th, they actually hiked up their guidance from 7.2 billion to 7.4 billion, but then they also said plus or minus 300. Now, if you look at what they actually came in is, so on the height up guidance on the top side would be 7.7 billion in revenue. Look at what they came in at. 7.69, let's call it 7.7. They hit the top side of the guidance after a hike up. That's so impressive, guys. 31% year-over-year growth. It's incredible. So they already had quite hard comps to do. The third thing is then obviously they had to stop their shipments to China during this period of time, which was a big whack for them. It looks like that's going to be resolved. So the combination that you had such a run up into earnings, you already had pretty high expectations coming into earnings, and then you had the China situation to deal with, which probably looks like it's going to get resolved. So that's only short-term impact. It looked like the combination of the market just kind of threw it down and went, that's not good enough. I think also what we'll get onto is that I think a few people focused on the where is the data center growth? Let's have a look here. Let me scan up to the data center growth. So the data center growth came in at 14% year over year, and I think a few people went, that's not good enough. We've seen you growing a lot higher than that in the last few quarters, and then they didn't really realize, well, the big thing that you have there is you've got obviously the impacts from the China situation. The other thing right now is we ship moving away from the MI350. We have the we're moving into MI355 at the moment. So there's a bit of a change around going up, and even on the conference call they came out and said that's just a short-term impact and that will go back up to growth. And I think so maybe there was four things. I think there's four things overall where the market went, we're not happy with all these things, you ran up so much, we're going to sell you off. And it's one of those that when you look at it you think the share prices run up a little bit, but you've got to listen to what they were saying about the future quarters. You've got to realize that China impact is probably going to go, and you've got to listen to what management was saying about that data center, and they give you good reasons why it was slower this quarter, and then they tell you, watch out because it's going to ramp up a bit more towards the next few quarters. And the combination of all that is like, okay, short term, a little bit of speed bumps, a couple of transitions going on, the rewards are coming. And that's the big thing that you've got to listen to what management team were telling you, and it's going to come. And this is the big thing that I always say to you guys about AMD at the moment is that if you're judging, the quarters that are coming out of AMD at the moment, yeah, they're good. We're enjoying seeing the financials move up in the right direction. We're not even into the main course yet of AMD. That's what you've got to remember. Anyone that is investing into this company for 2025, what are you playing at? Like 2025 isn't AMD's year yet. Like that's not their key year. The next 2026 is when we get to the main course in AMD, because that is the point when the MI400 comes out. The MI400 is going to be the closest product to NVIDIA, maybe even better than NVIDIA's product, and that's when it gets serious. And these products at the moment, they're great, they're stepping in the right direction, but that's when it's a game changer for AMD. 2026 when the MI400 comes out. And that's what you're investing for, because what potential growth that could generate is the exciting thing. And that's when we start looking at the numbers and we start seeing those numbers tick up a little bit. And there was a few signs already in this conference call where they go, get ready for 2026, because that is when we hit our main course. And that's when, if you've been buying, when the stock recently was, what did it get to? You could have got AMD a couple of weeks ago at $78, $80, $90, $100. If you're building up a position, then that's where you're going to be very happy, and that's the key thing that we look at when we look at the earnings that came out. So anyway, let's get on to some numbers here. So they said, as previously announced, our second quarter results were impacted by the US government's export control on AMD's MI300 data center GPU products. For the quarter, these restrictions led to approximately $800 million in inventory and related charges. Excluding these charges, non-GAAP gross margin would have been 54%. So you look here on the non-GAAP, we were at 43%. So that would have been a good step up in the right direction from where we would have been previously. The quarter would have been 53%. So that's great. We're well positioned to deliver significant growth in the second half of the year, driven by the ramp of our AMD Instinct MI350 series accelerators, which is obviously pretty impressive. They talk about the growth that they achieved there. Moving on to the next one. So data center revenue was 14% year over year. Obviously, they talk about the shipments into China, which hopefully they should get resolved with the license back coming into July now. So that should see the surge back up in the data center growth. Look at client and gaming segment as well, up 69% year over year. that's really scaling up into the right direction. Embedded still, not great, but 4%, a lot better than where it has been. So yeah, a lot of the parts of the business now really going up into the growth mode. And then you listen to the conference call. So listen to this, that they talk about the MI400. So looking ahead, the development of our next generation MI400 series is progressing rapidly. These are the most advanced GPUs we have ever built. AI performance and 50% more memory bandwidth and scale out throughput than the competition, NVIDIA. Okay, that's where it's serious. That's when you start talking about when this one comes in, that's going to be serious here as well. They talk about the software and systems. They talk about the stacking rack style that they've got currently going on at the moment. And Helios is expected to deliver up to 10x generational performance increase for the most advanced frontier models. We believe it will be the highest performing AI system in the world when it launches. MI series development is progressing well towards our planned launch in 2026. Serious. We're talking, that is big claims there. Big claims. And that's what we're waiting for. 2026 is the year where we can start getting serious about AMD here. Looking ahead, we see a clear path to scaling our AI business to the tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. Obviously, that's pretty impressive. Talk about the MI4. There was a lot of talk about the MI400 here. Looks absolutely amazing. They said we are actively engaging with expanding set of customers to support large-scale deployments in 2026. So it looks like a few people on the phone about this MI400 saying, hey, we were fed up with buying NVIDIA products. You guys are doing it cheaper and it's a better product. Also, a little bit of bonus here. They talked about the balance sheet. So they did where's the share buyback? So they did 1.2 billion of share repurchase in the first half of 2025. In May, they did announce a 1 billion, extra 1 billion. So they have 1.9 billion remaining under the current share repurchase program, or 9.5 billion. So you're also getting some lovely share buybacks going on at the moment. And this is where it's going to be key for AMD. This is when it's going to start showing up in the numbers. So at the moment, I've got 15, 20, 25% revenue growth in. 15, 20, 25% profit margins. I don't know exactly what they're going to scale up to. That's the tricky point that I'm having forecasting at the moment. 30 times earnings in, and not much on the low side. 41 to 51% of Boston 20 billion share buyback over the next 5 years on the mid side, and 100% on the upside. So you can see here the upside is a little bit more limited to where we were at before, because obviously, previously we were talking about the market cap was, a lot less than this. A couple of months ago, we were buying the market cap at 180 billion market cap, and then look at the upside you have there. Absolutely ridiculous. So there's still upside here. Now, the thing is that, I'm being quite conservative here because, like we've just seen them say, the MI400 could be the game changer. Big scale up. And you're looking at the moment, and you look at the growth figures that AMD are doing. They're growing 30% a year on products that are not really like the top dog. They're not really in competition with NVIDIA yet. The question is this MI400? Because if this starts to get to a point where they actually, obviously if they continue to grow at 30%, but if we see AMD accelerate to levels like NVIDIA, big surge up, if we're talking 40% growth, that's when we start getting the bigger numbers coming in. If we start talking about a 50% growth level, let's put 50% in, we're getting the 300% returns in here. So this is where it gets exciting, because I'm sat on my shares. I've got a good average. I'm up on my position like 40% already at the moment or something. If they do okay, like what they've been doing at the moment, I still probably make a bit more money out of this. But if a really big acceleration comes from this MI400, which is what they seem to be suggesting at the moment, they're saying this alone, this, where do we get the here? So looking ahead, we see a clear path to scaling our AI business to tens of billions of dollars. That's the AI business. We're not talking about gaming or anything on top of that, because if we go to the game, I can't find. I've lost the slide for the gaming side of it now. So you got data center there. That's about 3 billion of revenue. You've got the gaming, that's another 3 billion. You got the embedded segment, and you got the new console cycle coming up. I not even mentioned that. You got the new console cycle coming up as well. That with the new Xbox and everything like that. That could be a big surge now forward for gaming. Now they're past that kind of point of view. But what I'm going to say is, they're talking tens of billions alone, and you look at the this here. I mean, we're kind of towards nearly 92 billion at the back end of 2029, but I mean, the AI alone could be doing 50, 60 billion, never mind what all the other parts of the business are starting to add in here. So, I mean, if you go to a point of view where AMD actually does get to, let's say they do grow 40%. Now, NVIDIA is growing about 40% right now, and AMD has easy comps. They haven't had any of the AI boom yet. NVIDIA is doing significant amount of revenue. AMD is still at before AI booms revenue. So let's say they do get to like a 100 billion-ish run rate of revenue, right? And they do a 25% profit margin. But NVIDIA right now, for a 40% profit margin, 40% revenue growth, they're trading at like 50, 60 times earnings. So all of a sudden, if you talk about AMD coming to like a 50 times earnings, you're up to 400% upside. If they go all the way up to a 60 times earnings, you're up to a 500% upside. So this is the thing with AMD at the moment, is like, I'm really happy with this because I've got a really good average, and if they don't really accelerate to what we think they're going to do, I'm probably still going to make some decent-ish money on it. It'll be okay. I'll be a bit disappointed, don't get me wrong. But if they do now seriously, if this MI600, MI400 is seriously going to come competition for NVIDIA in 2026 and the next kind of couple of years, and they do see that revenue surging up now from where they're already growing at decent rates, but then they have a competitive product with NVIDIA, they take market share from NVIDIA. They haven't even had any comps from AI yet. They're still at really low comps compared to NVIDIA. And they start growing at the 40%, the 50% rates. And also, when you look at the earnings multiple expands to 40, 50, 60 times earnings like NVIDIA. You're getting some big upside. And I'm happy here because, that's what I said. I make some, if they disappoint, I should still do some okay money here. If they really execute to what they could potentially do, that's when we start talking about, hey, we could be sitting on a 2-bagger, 3-bagger, 4-bagger, 5-bagger here. And it's hard to forecast because, we talk about this MI4, the new MI400. We don't know how successful it's going to be. So it makes it a bit tricky to forecast. But from what we're seeing, it looks exciting. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to AMD. And like I said, it's one of those quarters where the market pushed it down this quarter for short-term things, and it'll, come back in Q3. I bet you AMD do a strong Q3. I bet they do an even better Q4. And then we get to the main course, 2026. If you're an AMD shareholder, you shouldn't be buying. Anyone that's bought AMD for 2025, what are you doing? AMD's year is not 2025. It's 2026. And that's when we get really excited. And then we see what numbers they can do. And then we start seeing the MI400 getting launched. Then we start seeing, okay, what numbers can we do here? And see what numbers they start throwing out. And that's when we can get a little excited. And that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that MI400 ultimately. And let's wait and see. Because Lisa Su was giving a few hints. Go listen to that conference call. Lisa Su was giving you a few hints there that it's she's excited about it, and she's not going to try to give too much away, but she's dropping hints like this could be a big game changer for AMD. So yeah. Come back in a year and let's see what AMD are at, because it could be a very exciting year for them in the next 12 months. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in a bit.